Hi, this is another member mission present, and I've got Ginny with me. She was in the second class of deacons in the Episcopal Diocese of Nevada under West Friendsdorf, and she was working as a cashier in a Harley's restaurant, and she met somebody. Tell us about her.
Okay, I was working at Harvey's as cashier in the carriage house, and I met this lovely young woman. She was about 22. Her name is Jan. And we just became friends. And I talked to her a lot, and then one day she came and told me that she was quitting. And I said, "Where are you going?" And she said, "I'm going to be a call girl, a prostitute." And I said, "Oh, honey, why are you doing that? Please don't do that." She said, "I already am, and I'll keep in touch." And so for 3 years, Jan and I were friends, and she would come to me and she'd say, "Please come and talk to me, Ginny. Let's go have a cup of coffee or something." And I would go and listen to her horror stories, I might add, and then she would say, "Oh, I know I shouldn't be doing this. It isn't what I thought it would be at all." And then she met a lovely young man, and she fell in love with him, and they were going to get married, and she said she quit. Good news. But then his family disinherited him if he were to marry her, and so she was brokenhearted and went back doing the same thing. Oh, I was so sad about that. But Jan continued on for the next 2 years, and I'd go have coffee with her. She'd tell me all these awful stories. Well, I changed jobs, and I was working over across the street at Harris as a shift hostess in the Seafood Cove, a little nice restaurant. And so Jan came over there, and we'd still go have coffee. Well, one day she came over, and when she was there, one of our new prep cooks came to the front and said, and I introduced them, and that was that. And then the next time she came, the little prep cook came out and said hi, and that was that. And then the next time she said, "Could I come with you?" Well, of course, I alluded to Jan because what we talked about was very confidential. And Jan says, "Sure, you can come." Well, she went with us on 2 occasions and just seemed to need somebody to be with, just to be with. She didn't know anybody. And so the 3rd time she went, she surprised us by saying to both of us, she said, "Who are these guys you're talking about?" And I said, "Well, who do you mean?" And she says, "Jesus? Is that how you say God?" She said, "I remember I had a grandma that said God once, and she was such a nice grandma." And I said, "Did you ever hear anybody that was angry and used those words?" And she said, "Are they the same guys?" And we said, "Well," and I'm a pretty good talker at times, part of my job, and Jan jumped in with both feet, and she witnessed to this young woman and told her who God was, who Jesus was, what they were about. They were our Creator and Savior. And the girl just listened and listened, and then we all went our separate ways, and Jan called me in the middle of that week, and she said, "I'm going home. I'm going home to God and to my church. I promise." And I said, "Don't promise me, Jan. Promise God." And then about a week later, the little prep cook quit. I don't remember her name. I don't know where she came from or why she was in Jan's life at that time. But I suspect she might have been one of God's angels.
Surely a moving story.
It was special. I'll never forget it.
And you've heard nothing from this person we're calling Jan for
No.
the purposes here, and but you trust in God that she is where she said she would be.
I still pray for her.
I'm sure you
I'll
do.
always pray for Jan.
Yes, and she will need it. And so that tells us this member mission story, and we're most grateful to Ginny for telling us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.